Yogis are practicing vipassana meditation. When you are practicing, what is the object of vipassana? What object do you note? What object do you take when you practice vipassana? Normally we say in vipassana meditation, everything becomes the object, everything that is prominent, everything that is evident at the present moment is the object of our vipassana meditation. But that needs some qualification that everything must be something that belongs to the ultimate reality. There are two kinds of reality taught in Buddhism: the apparent reality and the ultimate reality. The apparent reality is called concept, viññati. When we say it is a man, it is a woman, that truth is just according to the convention. But in the ultimate analysis, there is no such thing as a man or woman, but just the combination of 5 aggregates, or just say mind and matter, nama and rupa. So mind and matter are the ultimate realities. But when mind and matter are combined as a being, then we call it a being or a man or a woman. A man or woman or a being is a name we give to this combination of mind and matter. So a man or a woman or a being actually exists only in the emanation of people. That is just the emanation, imagination. They have no individual essence. They have no existence of their own. The names we give to people, the names we give to things, and also people or things that are represented by these names are called apparent reality or concept, viññati. From this apparent reality, you can extract, you can take out the ultimate reality. So from the man, we get mind and matter. Mind and matter are the ultimate realities. Because Namarupa, mind and matter really exist, and they can be experienced, and they can be seen by yourself through your practice of meditation. So concepts are those that have no real existence of their own, but they exist in people's mind, and we use a lot of concepts in our daily lives. But when you practice vipassana meditation, you do not take concepts as object, because the purpose of vipassana meditation or the functions of vipassana meditation is to see that namarupa, or aggregates are impermanent, suffering, and no soul. But, but concept has no such thing as impermanence, suffering, and no soul, because you do not know when concepts come into being and when concepts disappear. You do not know. Concepts do not have these three characteristics: impermanence, suffering, and no soul. And these three characteristics are important to see, because only when you see these three characteristics, you want to get away from suffering. So it is important that you see the three characteristics, and these three characteristics are found only in the ultimate reality and not in concepts. Your familiar ultimate reality that you are discovering, the four ultimate reality: consciousness, mental factors, metta, and nibbana. Among these four, a great part of consciousness and a great part of mental formations and metta or material properties are object of our vipassana meditation. Also, vipassana meditation takes only what belongs to mundane sphere and not those that belong to supramundane sphere. There are types of consciousness that are called supramundane, that arise at the moment of enlightenment, and also the mental factors accompanying them. These are not taken as object simply because they are not yet attained by those who practice vipassana meditation. When you practice vipassana meditation, you watch your mind, you watch your emotion, and you watch your consciousness, and you watch mental states, various kinds of mental states, and so on. Only that you experience, only those that arise in your mind, you can take as object. So the object of vipassana meditation is first the ultimate reality. Among the ultimate realities, those that belong to mundane sphere, not supramundane sphere. A meditator who has gained lower stages of enlightenment may practice vipassana meditation, and he or she could take the supramundane consciousness, his or her supramundane consciousness, as object of vipassana meditation. But although he or she may dwell on the supramundane consciousness, there is no benefits of getting rid of mental defilements regarding that consciousness. Because the supramundane consciousness is not the object of mental defilements. A meditator takes what belongs to mundane sphere. In the mundane sphere, there are like jhana consciousness and non-jhana consciousness. Jhana consciousness is that what arises in a person who practices samatha meditation or calm meditation, who takes mostly a concept as an object of meditation, who develops samadhi, who develops concentration on it, and reach the stage of jhana. At that moment, a consciousness arises in him. That consciousness is called jhana consciousness. Jhana consciousness can be taken as object for vipassana meditation. But only those meditators who have attained jhana can take jhana as object of his or her meditation. If we have not attained jhana, we cannot take jhana as an object of vipassana meditation simply because we have not attained jhana. That is for direct vipassana. There are two kinds of vipassana: direct vipassana and inferential vipassana, Vichaka and Anumana vipassana. First, you get the direct vipassana. That means you put your mind on the objects and you come to see these objects as impermanence, suffering, and no soul. After you have seen the real object, you have observed as impermanence, suffering, and no soul, you can make an inference that just as this object I am observing is impermanence, suffering, and no soul, so will other objects be impermanence, suffering, and no soul. In that way, you practice inferential vipassana on the other phenomena which you do not actually experience. But inferential vipassana must come only after direct vipassana. First, you have to see that a certain object is impermanent. Only after that, you can infer that just as this is impermanent, so are other objects. In direct vipassana, you take the object, what you can experience or what you have experienced. If you have not experienced jhana, then you cannot take jhana as object of vipassana. So you can take non-jhana consciousness and mental factors along with these types of consciousness as your object of meditation. Among the non-jhana consciousness, meditators, among the non-jhana consciousness, those that arise only in the minds of arahants cannot be taken as object. Because those meditators who are not arahants cannot have experienced those types of consciousness. So these types of consciousness cannot be taken as object. Actually, there are just a few types of consciousness and mental factors, and all material properties that can be the object of vipassana meditation. Among those that are non-jhana consciousness, or among those that are material properties, only those objects that are evident to the yogis are to be taken as object of meditation. Vipassana begins with what is evident to the yogi, what you can observe easily. At the beginning of your vipassana, you don't try to understand or you don't try to see things that are subtle, that cannot be easily seen. So you begin with what is evident to you, what is easy to comprehend. That is one important thing. Because if you try to see those, they are not evident. Because they are not evident, you don't see them clearly. And if you don't see them clearly, you don't see their characteristics. You don't see them as impermanence, suffering, and no soul. So, vipassana begins with what is evident, what is prominent, what is easy to see. Now you follow the instruction very well. Instruction is very simple. First, evident object, you should start. And also there are two kinds of object, internal object and external object, ijata and beheda. Ijata means that arise in your mind and in your body that you really experience. Beheda external means those that arise in other people, and also those that are in outside things like trees, mountains, and so on. Although both internal and external objects are the objects of vipassana meditation, meditators must concentrate on the internal objects, because only the internal objects are evident to you. For example, the minds of another person, you don't know the minds of another person, you don't see the minds of another person, but you may infer, oh, that person is angry, or that person is happy, that person is depressed. You may infer, but you don't really see for yourself his state of mind or her state of mind. But what is happening in you and your mind, you really know whether you are really angry or whether you are really happy or whether you are really discouraged. It is important that meditators should lay emphasis on observing the objects that are internal. That means your own states of mind, your own types of consciousness, your own material properties, your own sensation in the body and others. After you have observed the internal objects and come to know them as impermanent, suffering, and no self, then you may do the inferential vipassana on the external objects, such as mind. Mind is impermanent, so is the minds of other people, and so on, are impermanence, suffering, and no self. Sometimes such understanding just comes by itself, and you don't have to intentionally think about it. Although both internal and external objects are the objects of vipassana meditation, you should lay emphasis on observing the internal objects as much as you can. Instead of looking for outside object, or instead of searching for outside objects, you should concentrate on the objects that are in your mind and in your body. Looking for some outside objects is actually a distraction. By doing that, your concentration and understanding cannot develop. Next, the object of vipassana is the present object. Here also in inferential vipassana, yogi can take the past object and the future objects as the object of vipassana meditation. But here also, first, there must be direct understanding, direct observation, direct vipassana on the object that is evident to you. That which is evident to you is actually that which is present at the moment. So you take the object at the present moment as the object of meditation, and you try to be mindful of it, and you try to make mental notes of it, and you try to see its characteristics, you try to see that it is impermanence, suffering, and no soul. After you have seen the present object, you clearly see the present objects as impermanence, suffering, and no soul, and you may do inference, or you may do inferential vipassana. Just as this present object is impermanent, so the objects in the past were impermanent, so will be the objects in the future impermanent. So that kinds of contemplation or that kinds of comprehension comes to you actually almost by itself. After seeing the present object as impermanent, suffering, and no self, you just come to see that just as this is impermanent, so are the others impermanent. So what is important for a vipassana yogi is the object at the present moment. That is because only the object at the present moment can be observed and can be seen clearly. And objects that is past now cannot be observed. However much you may recall it to your mind, you do not see it clearly, you cannot see its characteristics, function, manifestation, etc. And the objects that are to come, since they are not yet here, you cannot look at them, you cannot see them, you cannot observe them. So you cannot understand their true nature. Only the objects at the present moment lends itself to observation, investigation, or comprehending. So the object at the present is the most important, and that object at the present moment can be any of ultimate realities. The present objects can be your thoughts, your emotion, your sensation in the body, or the rising and falling of the abdomen, and there are many things. arising at the present moment. And Buddha said, Aditan nanwagameya nabadi kinke anagatam. Yadaditam binantam apatinsa anagatam. Pichupaninja yandaman tata tata vipasati. Asahiram asangopan tanvita anubhyuheye. Do not let the past come back to you, or do not go after the past, because the past is already past, and do not long for the future, because the future has not yet come. So don't go back to the past, and don't long for the future, and don't cling the present. Can you follow me? Do not let the past come back to you. Do not let the past come back to you. Do not go after the past, because the past is already past. Do not long for the future, because the future has not yet come. So everything is passing by very continuously. Past is already gone, and future not yet come, and the present is also passing by, fading away, so nothing to be clung to. So yogi is able to be mindful of the object at the present moment, or the present moment as it arises, should develop concentration and wisdom that cannot be dragged away by wrong view or by attachment, that cannot be destroyed by wrong view and attachment. So Buddha instructed his disciple to be mindful of the object at the present moment, not to go back to the past and not to long for the future, because they are not real actually. So one has already passed and so not there, and the other is not yet come. So they are not here. However much you try to watch them, you will not see them clearly. And if you don't see them clearly, you cannot see their characteristics, function, and manifestation. But the present object is different. Since the present is here, as it were in front of your eyes, you can watch it, you can examine it, and you can see it clearly. When you see it clearly, you know that it arises and it disappears. So you see again and again. So during this intensive retreat, your job is only this. You are practicing bhavana. You see that it is impermanent, and it is constantly oppressed by arising and disappearing. Because one arises and disappears, and then another arises and then despair and so on. It is like being bombarded by arising and despairing. That sense of being constantly oppressed by arising and despairing is what you call suffering. And also, we know that we cannot do anything about it. We just have to accept it. We cannot make the impermanence permanent. We cannot make suffering happiness, and so on. So we have no control over it. We have no control over Namarupa. And that having no control over it is what we meant by anatta, no soul. So these three characteristics are important because without seeing these three characteristics, we cannot make progress. We cannot get to the point where we are dispassionate towards all mental and physical phenomena, dispassionate towards suffering. So it is important that we pay attention to the object at the present moment and not to be distracted to the past and to the future. If you think of the future and think of what will happen in the future or whatever, you are distracted. When you are distracted, you cannot make notes of the present object clearly. If you do not see the present clearly, your concentration and understanding cannot develop. That is why sometimes people spend a lot of time, maybe days or weeks, and they could not make progress in their practice. So it is important that the object you take must belong to the ultimate reality, and the object you take must be the one which is easy to see, which is evident. And it must be the object which is in the present moment. Meditator should understand the object of vipassana meditation, but if you are practicing with a teacher, you just need to follow his instruction. Here we give the advice directed by the Mahasi Sayadaw, very clear and simple instruction. If you follow these instructions properly, you don't have to worry about what object it is or what you are doing and what objects you are taking. If you are on your own practice, you should understand that Vipassana does not take concepts as object. Vipassana takes ultimate reality only as object, and ultimate reality means your minds and your thoughts, your emotion, your sensation in the body, movements of the body, rising and falling of the abdomen, etc. They are all called ultimate reality. Among the ultimate realities, we concentrate on what is mundane, and among the mundane, the objects you take are mostly non-jhana consciousness and concomitant mental factors and all material properties. You are concentrating on these objects. So these can be both internal and internal and external. And you should concentrate more on internal objects and then external objects. Actually, they are to be taken as object only when you force into your mind, like when you hear a noise. And also you should concentrate on the object at the present moment and not on those that are past or that are yet to come. So when you practice vipassana meditation, you keep this in your mind and try to be mindful of the object at the present moment continuously. Sometimes it is the rising and falling movements of the abdomen, sitting, walking, etc. Sometimes your thoughts going here and there, sometimes emotion, sometimes sensation in the body. Whatever is evident at the present moment, it is the object of your vipassana meditation. If we can just pay attention to the object at the present moment and not go back to the past, not long for the future or not think about the future, you will develop concentration quickly. When the concentration gets developed, you will come to see the true nature of these objects, that they are impermanent, they are suffering, and they are no soul. This is the purpose of vipassana, or this is the function of vipassana. Because the meanings of the words vipassana is seeing in various ways. We and pasana, pasana seeing, we various ways. Seeing in various ways means seeing mental and physical phenomena as impermanence, suffering, and no self. So when you practice vipassana, it is important that you see these three characteristics. So now 2 months retreat, intensive retreat is going smoothly. Your concentration and mindfulness getting strengthened and strengthening moment by moment. And the objects of meditation are more clear. When the objects clear, and you note more and more, and you can see the three characteristics, you can see the true nature of the psychophysical phenomena. So we will continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discuss for today. By practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, may all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future.